speak in the mic.
Hey everybody, my name is Caroline Fitzgerald. I am 14 and I never learned how to drive. Hey everyone, welcome back to Coworker Calamity, the podcast where we try to make sense of the chaos that comes with being young women who have recently entered the quote-unquote real world. My name is Caroline, and today's episode is titled, He Loves Me, He Loves Me Not. Just vote.
Girl, just vote.
Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, and definitely the first in our friend group to get married, Isa!
Hello.
I can hear the bells. Ding!
Oh, brother.
Speaking of marriage, when are you gonna get married?
Actually, that's a thing.
Like, what's an ideal time in your head for you to get married?
Late 20s, early 30s. For me, if I'm not married by 35, I'm just gonna be single.
I think I'm with you there. Or, like, not even just, like, single. Like, maybe I'll, like, still date, but I don't think I would get married after 35.
Yeah, I
don't see the point.
I don't see the point. It doesn't, I feel like after that certain time, it doesn't mean as much to me as a marriage.
Why do you think that is? Like, because is there a certain stigma that feels like you have to get married in this time frame, or?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the timeline for that kind of stuff is so different now, but my parents got married really young. My mom was 20 when she got married. So my perception of marriage is a little bit warped, where I think it has to be, like, immediately. Right?
Really? Because that's funny, because mine's opposite. My parents got married. Well, my mom had me when she was 40. So they would have gotten married like 5 years prior to that, maybe. So 35. Yeah. My dad was older than that.
If it's the right person.
Yeah, I think too, like, my parents wanted to have kids, and they're also religious, so.
Right, yeah.
There's that.
I get that, I do. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I have an idea, but it's not really a concrete thing, because it's not in my focus right now.
That's so real.
I can't.
We have people at work who are, like, newly engaged and, like, planning their wedding and stuff, and I'm like, it's not even on my realm of life, like, at all, the idea of doing that. I also just, like, try to keep an open mind. I don't want to be like, if I don't do this by a certain age, because it's like, why am I putting limitations on myself? True. Or are those even my limitations, or are they limitations that other people think, and it's just, like, been projected onto me?
It could also just be a goal. Like, maybe you want to see yourself married at 35 or 30, so you can start planning family or planning, retirement or trips, or I don't know. It's just, it's kind of stressful, because I feel like it changes for me a lot. Like, I kind of change my mind about things. And
I know, because it's like, I don't even know if I want kids right now. And it's like, okay, so I need to plan to get married just in case I want kids.
Right.
Like, that doesn't seem fair to anybody
Maybe I should
involved.
freeze my eggs.
Yeah, it's like, what?
I went to a really small town school, and a lot of people kind of graduated high school as high school sweethearts. And they, right now, because I still follow them all on Instagram and stuff, and I think that's kind of what gets my mind. I don't know, maybe it's like this primal female urge where, like, energy, where I see all of these high school sweethearts from my high school getting engaged to, and for some reason, my mind is like, I'm running out of time.
See, I see that too. And I know people, like, I hung out with who have, like, children already, like, that are my age. And I see them, and, I mean, first of all, good for them for, like, trying to raise a family, like, that young. Like, that's difficult. But I see them, and I'm like, I'm glad that I'm not married and having kids. Is that bad?
I think it's all based on what you want, right? I think we're in an era where women, especially, like, women in the U.S., can be very independent and have great careers and get really far. Yeah, when you are raised to kind of pursue that, you're encouraged to go to college and get an education. I think that is a path that you go on that might cause a divide. Like, I feel like there's always, like, a line between marriage and career, or, like, family and career.
Yeah, because I mean society, women are the ones expected to give up their career most of the time to stay home with the kids.
The expectations, right? The pressure.
And it just gets ridiculous, too, and I won't get into this part, but it's like, okay, then when that couple ends up getting divorced, everyone gets mad that she gets half of, like, the money or whatever, but, like, what they don't understand is she gave up her career. She's not gonna be able to go back to work when you take off, like, 10 years. And that, like, that's terrifying to me. Not that I'm planning on getting divorced, but, like, I don't want to not have a backup plan. I'm a backup plan girl. I got plan A's, B's, and C's on lock, you know?
Yeah. No, me too. I'm a very much like a planner. Especially in order for me to feel stable in a lot of things, I like to have plans.
A safety net, yeah.
Yeah, like safety nets, you know, just in case something happens. Can I set something up? And maybe that's just my chronic anxiety.
I was about to say, like, that also is a side effect of anxiety.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I understand it, too. I feel like my, like, independence and my freedom is so important to me as just an individual. Like, that is just part of who I am. I don't like the idea of being tied down to anything, whether it's, like, I own a house, so now I have to, like, commit to living in this place. That's terrifying. I don't want to commit to living somewhere for the remainder of my life because I have a house there.
Yeah, and I think that comes with time, though. Like, I think once you kind of have financial stability, you know, relationship stability, I think it kind of all falls into place over time. I'm the same way where I'm like, I don't want to live. I hate signing a year lease because I'm just like, oh my god,
I have to commit to a whole year.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, the years fly by now, but still, it's just like stuff like that. But I think once you're more stable and your surroundings are better, I think it becomes easier to be like, okay, I'm gonna buy a house here, or I'm gonna, you know, invest in something here or something. I don't know. Maybe,
I think so. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of me, like the skeptic part of me, that kind of just thinks like, oh, people say that to make themselves feel better, that they didn't go do the things they wanted to do in life and they chose the nuclear family, like, ordinary route, which is still a valid and healthy and beautiful route. But I do think sometimes people choose it because it's a safer option versus doing maybe what they wanted to do or go where they wanted to go. So I don't know. I guess I don't want to, like, I'd much rather like die regretting the choices that like I did make versus the choices I didn't. So I think that applies to everything and beyond when it comes to that. But we're kind of sidetracking here because this episode is actually about modern dating.
Yay.
If you couldn't tell by the title, just vote.
Right. And I think honestly what we just talked about has a lot of context for modern dating.
Absolutely,
I think
yeah.
a woman's mindset has shifted to be more independent. I mean
even now that we can actually have our own income,
right? Exactly.
You know, women were. Please, historians, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think women were allowed to work until like. I mean, I know my grandma worked, so it definitely would have been like 50s, 60s. But even then, like, fully independent, like, go to college, get an education, like, that wasn't until somewhat recently.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the timeline is, you might think it's way long ago, when in reality it's not.
No, it's not at all.
And I know that a lot of times when history books, and this is a known thing, history books will kind of purposefully make photos black and white, especially like, you know, like MLK era. The photos were in color, but they make them black and white to make it seem even older.
And interesting.
Which is like, I learned about
to try to separate it from like, this isn't us, you guys.
Yeah,
in reality, it's literally some of your grandparents and great grandparents.
I love the subtle changes that they make in stuff like that, because you really, it's crazy. But what was I trying to say before that? I got sidetracked.
The women now that we have more of a independent, financially independent, that we're allowed to make more choices that benefit who we are as individuals as opposed to catering to a family unit.
And I think that's shown in different countries as like a declining birth rate. A lot of, there's the male loneliness epidemic. Which...
See, you know what, they call it male loneliness epidemic. I call it evolution, baby. I call it natural selection. Like, women are choosing not to have children with men who are of low caliber and quality now.
I agree.
Which thereby gets rid of all the genes in that pool.
I think, I think it does suck that there's a big divide between men and women these days. I do think we're kind of getting to a point where there will be irreversible damage in the relationship between man and woman. But I do think it's eye-opening to see how much was kind of normalized in the past, especially even like generations before us, and how toxic and sad a lot of relationships were, and how so many times you see stories of women putting up with it just because they didn't want to leave.
And they couldn't leave, didn't have options. Again, they gave up their career, or they never had one to begin with, and they got married when they were barely of age, you know? Right. And if you talk to a lot of older women, like, I'm talking about, like, grandmothers, they'll be like, don't get married. Like, don't ever get married. Which is sad, because you should want to build a life with somebody and, like, grow with somebody. That should be something that everyone wants. But at the same time, I mean, I don't blame them for being resentful when that was your only option. That's not fair, you know, in so many ways.
But back then, they didn't really have this many people at their disposal like we do. Grandparents and even our parents, they didn't really... Dating apps and ways to date people online weren't really at the forefront of dating.
I mean, no, it was like your school or your parents' friends' children.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's, you can set your radius on a dating app to the whole USA if you wanted to.
Yeah. But dating apps terrify me, because it really does feel like you're just shopping, you know? It becomes, you just objectify, regardless of gender, you know? You change somebody who has personality and interests, and you try to combine it into, like, a few pictures.
Right, and also liars.
Oh yeah, you can lie about anything. Yeah.
Yes, and meeting people that way is so scary, because you can be a whole different person, basically. For
even you can even look different. Like, those can be old pictures for all that person knows, you know?
Exactly.
And regardless of, like, the safety option, like, I know, like, I know people who have met, like, their significant others, like, long-term relationships. I know people who are married, like, from that.
There is a rare case, and you know what? I'll say this. Whenever I do see a relationship that is successful through dating apps, it's Hinge.
I was about to say, every single one I know has also been Hinge.
Yeah. My sister and her long-term boyfriend, who are avid listeners. Hello, Veronica and Ariel.
Shout out
to my biggest fans. And Jordan, he's a big fan too. But they've been on Hinge. And they've been dating 3 years.
Yeah, case in point, like, Hinge, if anyone, it's always Hinge. I haven't heard, or maybe Bumble. I've heard Bumble a few times.
Bumble is not as popular. They want to be popular. Yeah. But the issue with Bumble is that they've got that stupid friends option. Also, people are not using Bumble as often as they use Tinder or Hinge. Yeah. Right? I've used all three in the past. Tinder for me was always going to be a bad experience, and Hinge. Like, I just can't. For me, especially because, like, I had a terrible relationship all because of Tinder. First mistake. And then I've went on some of, like, if not the worst dates ever with guys on Tinder. Like, I'll tell you about Cheesecake Factory guy. Oh. It's so funny now, but in the moment, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? I had, like, a crisis, because I was like, why did I even accept to go on a date with this type of loser? Because this dude, we matched on Tinder, and I was 19 years old. And I liked the idea of being able to date somebody with similar interests as me. I think that was always a big thing for me. Like, we need to have shared interests. You can't just be, like, a complete opposite person. That's not gonna go, right? Because with shared interests come shared mindsets, in a way.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the interests. Like, if a guy's really into football, and you're into, like,
music,
it's like that.
Taylor and Travis. That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking more just, like, something really, like, quiet and, like, like contemplative, then like there might be some. But also I think it's good to be in a relationship with people with different interests,
but at least
different perspectives,
there's common ground. You know, I think that's really important.
For sure.
It doesn't have to all be shared interests, but it needs to be enough where you can kind of come back into the middle and express interest in something.
Yeah, well, right? I feel like this is a little bit like off, but like I think the specific, I forget the word, specific like parameters, I guess, of what will make a relationship more likely to last long term as opposed to pretty much guarantee you guys break up is if you're compatible economically, education background, economic background, like you grew up in like both middle class, both high class, both and then politically you're the same. Education wise, you both have gotten somewhat of similar educations, right? So if like
that makes sense,
like so somebody with a master's is probably not gonna be somebody with zero education ever, you know, like that won't match. And if you aren't compatible with religion, that's the last one. If you aren't compatible or you're incompatible in any one of those categories, your relationship is way more likely to fail.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
because those are like foundations for either moral, ethical, or the way you perceive the world. So if it's already misaligned, there might be some issues.
Yeah, I agree. So how does this come back to Cheesecake Factory guy? So we met and we talked a bit, and then he said that he wanted to go on a date, and he offered to take me to Cheesecake Factory.
I mean, I love Cheesecake Factory.
I know a lot of people say worst first date location, but honestly,
but it is like really heavy like food, you know what I mean? Like if you're on a first date, I don't want to like feel like I ate a Thanksgiving meal.
Well, yeah, it was more of like a lunch. It was like the lunch hour. We went. And
okay, interesting.
I remember at the time I left my dog home alone to go on this date. So I don't like leaving my dog home alone. My Unia Petunia deserves to be with company at all times. So at first I'm already like, okay, this is getting weird. And right off the bat, this date was awful. Okay, Cheesecake Factory guy. We added each other on Snapchat. That's another thing. You need to delete Snapchat. If you're above the age of 20, delete it. I don't care if you have streaks or that's how you reach out to friends.
No, delete that's pretty crazy. The only reason I still have it is because the camera roll like all my memories through it. I haven't used this since I graduated college, probably.
Literally hate Snapchat. But yeah, so he would always he lived with his parents, but he would always Snapchat like pictures of his house, and he lived at a really nice neighborhood and the house was really nice, but he was basically flaunting his parents' money.
In college? He
dropped out of college. His major was wine studies at a community college, and he dropped out. He couldn't do it. So instead he decided to pursue streaming on Twitch full time, and he bought a $12K like setup. First of all, you have to really go out of your way to spend that much money on a setup. That's insane. But basically he spent over $10K on a setup to set up his Twitch channel, his Twitch stream. I go and check it out. 2 followers. He's live. I'm the only one watching.
Literally us watching. Literally our friends just be our only listeners.
Okay, but we're not over here spending $10K on our equipment.
True.
Right? Like, that's insane. And anyway, so that was like a huge ick for me. And then his fashion was terrible. His outfit was giving...
If you're rich, you can't dress bad, bro, but you know what money can't buy?
He wanted to be kind of like... I don't even know what the style was. He was wearing like bright red Jordans. Oh. And then he had like really bad skinny jean situation and like a terrible shirt. Definitely not a good first date outfit. And then we go and he orders like the $60 filet mignon, right? Because he's rich. He's quote unquote rich.
For lunch is crazy.
Yeah. I order like the lunch Da Vinci pasta portion. Love me a Da Vinci pasta. Favorite thing on the freaking Cheesecake Factory menu. And throughout the entire date, he is only talking about what happened between him and his ex. He just got out of a 3-year relationship, right? And all he talked about was her. And how, like, he's like, yeah, her parents were, like, they wanted us to get married, and I just couldn't do it. And I'm just like, girl, like, what is going on? And I'm, like, suffering at this point.
That's so, like, people are just Oh, this is like I actually get mad talking about dating because it's like shit like this where it's like I will stay indoors.
Yeah, literally.
Like, why are you wasting my time just so I can be your free therapy appointment for you and your horrible ex relationship that you're not over clearly and your low emotional intelligence? That's what it was.
And then we finished our meals and the waiter comes up to us and she's like, "Are you guys ready for the check?" And he's like, "Yeah, we'll split." Oh. Is that filet mignon too much for you? You can't pay for my $15 lunch menu deal? Right? I was this is the worst thing ever that's ever happened to me. And
I've had that happen. First date did not
and then
get paid for.
We go home. Well, I go home. I drive away and I'm just like, I cannot wait to see my dog. That was the only thing I was thinking about. It was like my poor poo-poo was home alone because I wanted to go on a terrible date. And then he texts me and he goes, "You looked nice, by the way." I was like, oh my god. Literally, he checked all of the wrong boxes. And then I texted him. I say, "Hey, like, the date was nice, but I don't really think like we're compatible." I remember just saying like, "Hey, I'm not really interested," and I never talked to him again. And I blocked him on everything. I was like, man, what is wrong with me? Like, why did I go on a date like that? And my confidence was shot because I was like, is that who I deserve? Like, is that who I go on a date with? But then I realized that it's all like dating app related. And then I got into a relationship based on Tinder. It was only 6 months, but it was like the worst 6 months of my life. And I was like, it was just love bomb city. And he lied about so much of everything. And that's the thing is like Tinder equals liar, right?
Yeah.
Like, the guy I was dating was
I think it's a perfect platform for people who, especially, I'm not trying to hate on men, but it's typically men who don't want to have to work hard to actually have any sort of solid foundation with the woman. They literally just want sex. They want it free and they want it easy. And they think that if they can pose as, I'm looking for a relationship or whatever it is, then it's like easier for them to like get what they want. It's just kind of sad and a little gross to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, like after my breakup that I had, I kind of was like, I don't think I like dated a few times after that, but then everything kind of just, my trust was shot. I did not trust a single thing that any of the people I met were. And I realized that like it's not for me. It's never gonna work out. And then I just kind of used Tinder as an opportunity to like, I don't know, boost my confidence. You know, like guys messaging me and being like, "Hey, beautiful." I'm like, oh. But then that didn't make me feel better anyway.
But also, it's like, it's like, yeah, it's not gonna make you feel better because you need to believe it too. And then two, it's like these guys aren't even looking at it. They're just they're like mass swiping.
Oh, yeah.
As many as they can. Yeah. Because eventually they'll get like at least one or two bad
matches. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the same lines with you. I just I can't ever see myself dating somebody that I met through a dating app. And I think for me it's because I like to think at least pretty good discernment skills, that I need to be able to see you in real life so I can like actually like gauge whether or not you're of a quality person. And here's the thing.
Here's why I'm so pro friends to lovers.
Because you have a solid foundation built with that.
Yeah, and you can see them in contexts that are not, because a part of me thinks that when you go on a date, it's a front. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like you're putting your best foot forward.
Yeah, you're putting your best foot forward and stuff, and you're acting all whatever. But I personally think that like, it's not just that makes a good relationship. It's how you interact with them on the day-to-day, right? Not every interaction you have with your partner is going to be romantic.
Yeah, dressed up, ready for dinner.
Right, exactly. It's going to be more of like a partnership, right? Like, you know, I don't know. I just think that making sure you're friends with who you date beforehand, you know, even if you meet them on Hinge or whatever, at least hanging out with them enough and kind of having more of a friendship than anything else, and then that going into a relationship is far more productive and beneficial than just going online and dating apps just to quickly have a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That's why like I've heard this before. A lot of people do like the 3-month rule, like nothing.
Super smart.
Yeah, nothing beyond like hand holding, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe like a kiss or two for the first like 3 months.
It's giving like middle school, hey, can I hug you after class today?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's just basically like no, like all the way until after that. And I think that's so smart, because people can only, again, this is for either side, but people can only hold up a facade for a certain amount of time. By then, 3 months in, if that person is an evil person, you will have seen flags. Even if they're not bright red, you'll see it, because they can't hide it forever.
A big thing to look out for, because I had a really toxic ex, and there were major signs that I never dated anyone in middle school or high school or anything like that, and I'm kind of wishy-washy on whether or not that is something you should do or not do. I know that a lot of people are like, I date for the experience or whatever, but I personally never found anyone in high school up to my standard, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't see a future.
I don't think you should force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. But if you're not doing it because it's fear-based, as opposed to, I just haven't found somebody I connected with, that's different. Because if you're fear-based, it doesn't matter who you meet. You're going to find a problem within them to help confirm whatever fear it is that you have, whether it's intimacy or emotionally or physically, like opening up, whatever it is. But, and if that's the case, then that problem just needs to be addressed on its own.
Yeah.
And you probably should be alone while you're addressing that, whether it's through therapy or just learning to like fully accept yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why I get not nervous for high school kids, but you're so young. And you're so impressionable, and you don't really know yourself that well. Not as well as certainly not as well as you think you do.
Right.
So it's really easy to feel like you have to do things, or you're not as good at holding boundaries because you are so young. So that's where I get a little like,
yeah, it's a weird slope to be on for sure. But anyway, yeah, I didn't like, I was aware that my ex was kind of like weird, and kind of raised a few like flags for me. But a part of me was like, well, you know, not all relationships are perfect, right? I wanted to be chill girl. I wanted to be like chill girl, non-problematic, kind of go with the flow type of girl, because my issue was that I was so uptight about dating that I got to a point where I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to find anyone. And so I think when I ended up dating my ex, I kind of wanted to relax a bit and really see how that goes for me. And, you know, the relationship was fine. Very love bomby. Insanely love bomby, like smothered me. There was no, like, right off the bat, there was hardly any separation between us. He always wanted to stay over and vice versa. And also very emotional, like crying all the time. Like, he was like a big fucking baby. I'll say that now. He was a baby. He was failing like all of his classes. That's another thing. That
would be enough for me.
That was literally it. Well, he was failing all of his classes, and he comes over because he wants to do homework, but then he starts playing like a game on his phone, and then I'm like, I thought you wanted to do homework, and then he starts crying. I was like, wait, I'm literally
that's so like weaponized, like,
no, literally,
like,
and then he would threaten to leave all the time, and then like right out as he walking out the door, he's like, I'm sorry, and it was just like, oh my God, like, man child. And I mean, I left his ass after he accused me of being a narcissist, which honestly, like, looking back at it, I think it was projection.
Oh no, that is like 100% projection.
Right. And he was also a frat guy, which is another thing. Don't date a frat guy. Never. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. But aside from toxic ex, I think that was a huge stepping stone. I mean, it did destroy my trust for a long time, and that kind of carried over into my relationship with Will. And I still struggle with it to this day, all because of this Tinder relationship that I indulged in, which was terrible, right? And it sucks. But yeah, I think kind of after having a really bad relationship, it kind of led to me not being interested in dating at all. Like, I dabbled here and there, but I didn't really want to be in another relationship because I was kind of scared. Yeah. And I think because I wasn't looking, I kind of didn't really think much of it when I was like friends with Will. And then it wasn't until that kind of naturally progressed into a relationship. And I think, unfortunately, that's kind of the route that is best when it comes to dating. I think it needs to kind of be a natural progression and not, let's have these scheduled dates and then after the 5th one, now we're gonna progress, and it's kind of like a forced
it's just like
puzzle thing.
I agree. I like things should just be flowing naturally, but also like in like a safe way, you know what I mean? So it's like some people, everyone has a different like, I guess like path or whatever. I think I guess the biggest advice or like thing I try to think of is, if you are not satisfied with yourself or satisfied or okay with like being alone with yourself, then don't date, because there's something there that needs to be addressed, because then you're just going to attract people that trigger that part of you that you're not addressing.
And also having anxious attachment, avoidant attachment. Are you anxiously attached to your partner? Are you like waiting for them to text you back and you're anxiously waiting? Or are you the opposite, where whenever they do text you, you kind of don't want to, you feel like you're being smothered?
Yeah, and that's actually really good to know. Do you know which one that you...
Oh, I was 100% anxiously attached. Are you kidding?
See, I'm the other one.
Really?
I like if people get too close to me, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because in the beginning of the relationship, it honestly, what's really great is that, like there's a lot of, when you're with somebody who isn't a man baby and a man child, you can actually like develop and like grow and become better at the relationship, and vice versa. And I was so anxiously attached to Will for the first few months of the relationship. Even though I was working, right, like I would be checking my phone and just like thinking about it, and then if he doesn't respond, I'm like, oh my god, he hates me, like he's no longer interested in me, and it was like a whole thing. But then as time went on, now it is very comfortable both ends. Like I'm not sitting here shaking and crying, not like that I was, but that's
but that's a really good point though, is like you don't have to be perfect to be in a relationship. Honestly, some of the worst people I freaking know on this planet are people in relationships. I mean, not saying that like that they should be in one, but I'm saying like I feel like sometimes people hold a standard where they're like, I can't be in a relationship, I'm not worthy of love until I do this, until this happens. And
that was my mentality before I started dating Will.
Yeah, and I think again, like the point of a relationship is to grow with somebody and learn something from the experience. But I will say, if you are going to be going into one, it should be, in my opinion, at least you're comfortable with who you are as a person.
There needs to be a level of confidence.
There needs to be a level of confidence. There needs to be a level of self-love. Because if you don't respect yourself, why would anybody else
respect you? Yeah. Right. Or, and that's another thing, is that a lot of the times, especially the lowest confidence-wise I was when I was like using dating apps. And
same.
Yeah, like
the more confident I got, the less like need I had for like using those. Yeah, I didn't even think about them anymore. But when I was really like lowest, like I really felt awful about myself, the way I looked. I'm like, okay, I'll go on all these to remind myself. But it never made it better, because why would these random people make me feel better? They don't even know me. They just see a picture that's probably half edited.
Right, exactly. Or it's their high school senior picture.
Yeah.
So many times. That's the worst thing too, is when I was on Tinder and I would see somebody I went to high school with, and we're past graduation, but they're using a photo that I know they had on their Instagram since 2016. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell?
That she was a minor.
Literally, like that's kind of icky. Yeah. Like, why are we using like
unless you look the exact same, then I'm like, okay.
Which half the time they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're way uglier.
Yeah.
No offense, but yeah, so it was a nightmare. I was really happy to kind of get onto the other side of that and realize that, like, why am I still doing this? Deleting the apps. And then, funny enough, the second I really just took my mind off of it was when I ended up dating somebody that I knew in real life. And it was kind of like a reality shift for me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like you close that cycle. Your spirit team was like, yes, girl, delete that.
Literally, yeah. But here's the thing though, is that I knew Will since freshman year of college, because we went to college together. Hated his guts, hated his ass. First 2 years of college, Will was public enemy number 1, because inner core, we were, because he's this really talented animator, was doing it before college. He didn't even have to go to the classes. He already knew how to do everything, right? All of the professors loved him. Despite him not going to classes, his films that he would create in college were always highly esteemed. So not only was I jealous of him, but I was like jealous of the fact that he just knew everything and he didn't have to try, right? And also he was kind of like mean. He was kind of a meanie. Yeah. And then he kind of, he became friends with somebody that we were friends with because we had a friend in college, and she was such a sweet person. She was so nice. She loved everyone. Always friendly. Like, the sweetest person ever. I wish her the best because, like, she made me more positive. Because, like, I would, like, be hating life, and she'll be, like, so happy. And she'll be like, how are you doing today? And I'm like, oh my God, you're so, like, you're just so happy all the time, and you're so grateful. Anyways, so she became friends with him, and I think after kind of seeing another side of him, like a friendlier side, me and Jordan and the rest of the friend group kind of warmed up to him. And then I had a class with him, and he was really good at the class, and it was to learn this program called Nuke. It's a compositing program. It's really complicated, and it's just like After Effects but worse. And the professor was kind of ass, and Will was in that class, and we kind of sat next to each other, and we both kind of shared a mutual, like, hatred but also respect for the program. And we worked together on a project, and it was actually like a class project we did. And then ever since then we kind of played video games together and became friends, and I realized that he's genuine and he's not a weirdo that I thought he was. I mean, he's still a weirdo, don't get me wrong. Freak. He's not a freak.
He's not real. He's my weirdo.
Yeah. But also, that's the thing, though, is that we had shared interests, and he kind of made me branch out. And, you know, we had the shared interest that we loved playing Minecraft together. Our group project was Minecraft. Yeah. So.
And you both are, you know, at the same school studying
3D animation. Thing. He was kind of on the same side of the internet as I was when I was young. In fact, I'm pretty sure the stuff he created for YouTube and stuff, because he was pretty up there with his content. He was genuinely, like, popular.
Really?
Yeah. And I pretty sure, like, briefly we might have crossed paths, and because we were on the same side of the internet, I've definitely watched his content before without even knowing it was him. Mm-hmm. Right? And so it was kind of cool to see
invisible string theory.
Yeah. And then it just so happened that when I got my internship, it was the same city that he lives in across the US. So he was like,
that is so invisible string.
Right? He was like, what do you mean you have an internship here? I live there. So then, you know, it was really nice to have a familiar face and across the country, because, like, I'm starting at at zero, you know. So that was nice. And then now we're long distance, but because we had such a solid foundation, it's, like, stable and stuff. And yeah, I think that over Tinder or online dating or forcing yourself to date somebody just because is so much better than well, no, the other way. It's not so much better than just, like, letting things with your personal relationships kind of pan out, and you're kind of really taking time to see, you know, the people around you as someone that, you know, because I could have never, like, if you told me 5 years ago that I was going to date Will.
I will say, like, I had friends in college that were dating everybody in the friend group, like, vibes, and, like, that's not what we're talking about here, okay? Like, don't date a bunch of people in your friend group.
No, never. No.
That's weird.
No, if it's becoming, like, incestuous and you're, like, trading partners and whatever in the friend group, and the drama starts ensuing because now there's sides, then stop.
No, that's weird. But, like, dating someone you've been friends with a long time and you're out of college and you, like, that's way different.
Yeah, I do think it's different. But also, just,
like, end of the day, like, if you are chronically single like me, that's okay. Don't feel bad about it. Maybe there's some lesson you need to learn, some, you know, past you need to outgrow, or maybe there's an invisible string that's been happening that you don't even know about.
I like to think that there's always someone for someone.
Oh, I know for a fact.
Right?
I mean, I'm never mind. I was going to say something bad.
No, I think there's always someone for someone. And I also am a believer of because my mentality before dating Will was, I'm not in a good place enough. I'm still kind of dealing with the aftermath of a really toxic relationship. I don't think I'm going to be ready. I don't know if it's something I even deserve, right? And I've been more than capable of being on my own and having fun and, you know, having great friendships. And then Will kind of put a different perspective where it's like, you know, you don't have to be perfect, and there's growing together, and you're trying to grow to be the best person you can be for yourself first and then for each other, right? Like there were numerous times where Will tell me like, you need to grow for you, right? And ultimately that will help us, and vice versa. And
as long as you both are doing growing, it's the couples that like one stays stagnant, the other goes, is bound to fall apart.
Yeah, that's another thing, is you gotta also make sure that the trajectory is there, because that's another thing is like my ex, he just was such a deadbeat, right? Like addicted to weed. He didn't tell me that, by the way. That was the thing he lied about. He said he quit, but he would smoke weed. I would go to bed. He would go downstairs, smoke weed outside, change his clothing, and then go back into bed. And he would be high every night. And I was like, you're doing all that?
Like literally, honestly, like, at that point, just like admit you're doing it.
Yeah, but then the thing is like, he was so addicted to it. Like he was going through like withdrawals, and he was like mad all the time, and then he would like blame me. He'd be like, you're different, when in reality, like he's the one that's dealing with a ton of withdrawals.
Well, he said you were different because he was withdrawing?
Yeah. He would be agitated.
He's the king of projection. This guy's textbook.
No, it was terrible, and then I found out a bunch of other stuff post relationship because all of the frat bros kept it from me.
Yeah, other brothers. Yeah. Okay.
You know, like the physical assault part.
Yeah. Nothing makes me more freaking mad than...
They were like, yeah, we just thought you knew. I'm like, if I knew that he was like out here choking out other frat brothers, I wouldn't have been dating this loser.
You know, in this documentary I was watching yesterday, there was a line in it that really stuck with me. And this lady was like, I don't think there's anything more evil in this world than people who turn away from bad actions or bad things happening and pretend they don't see it. Like, and I'm inclined to agree. It's like if you're
frat brothers are built on that.
Like your homie or your friend, if they're doing something illegal, immoral, hurting people, I don't care. Like what? Like in what world? I have left friends who were immoral, who did shitty things.
Me too. I can't. They don't stand on the same like thing as me, and they're doing something that's kind of corrupted.
Yeah. Also, that will rub off on you. Who you spend your time with is who you become, whether it's dating or friendship. So
I agree. Yeah. No.
You know, you're defending a loser who beats people up and, you know, does a bunch of horrible things and keeping it a secret, then you're probably eventually going to become the same if you're not already. Yeah. And remember that when you're picking your partners. If your partner's a loser, eventually you might become one too. Do you want to be a loser?
Definitely keep your standards, right? Never lower them to a point where you don't even recognize yourself anymore, right? I think it's okay to kind of have different expectations. I mean, once again, I always wanted to date a really, really tall guy. That was like a must for me. And then here comes along Will, short little Brazilian man. He's not that short, but I like to call him short.
I don't know how tall he is.
He's like 5'10".
I was gonna say he's definitely taller than at least me.
Yeah, he's taller than you guys. Okay. No, he's like 5. It just sucks that I'm 6 feet tall, but you know,
still that's like 2 inches. Like, come on, 2 inches.
No, literally,
but I will say, don't date someone you're unattracted to either, though. Like, if you're unattracted to somebody, like, that's not fair to either parties to, like, try to force yourself
I agree.
to be, like...
I agree. Yeah, because think about that long term. Like, what is that going to look like? I mean, you can have all the emotional attraction, but if there's no physical attraction, like, that's just
a friendship, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At a certain point, like, a really, really intimate one.
Right.
But friendship, and then the less. And these are just things to think about. But do you want to do a tarot pull?
Oh my god. Yeah. Let me see which one I have available right off the bat. Phantom Wise.
Okay. Hey. I love that one.
Phantom Wise Tarot by Erin Morgenstern. I feel like I recognize that name. She must have written a book or something.
I was like, that sounds familiar.
Oh man, it's gonna bother me that I don't know, but we'll do a quick read.
Morgenstern.
I got a new shelf, so now it's easy for me to access my decks. Oh, this is another slippery deck. I forgot. Oh my god. I can't even do a proper shuffle.
Well, probably because it's new.
I just don't use it as often.
Yeah, because you gotta break them in sometimes or they will go flying.
Okay, we have one. She fell.
She's gone. She's gone.
Okay, I got the 10 of Cups. Wow. Okay, I think in regards to relationship, that's a great card.
You couldn't get a better card.
It literally flew out like crazy. That's insane. Okay, 10 of Cups, that basically means, you know, what
ultimate fulfillment.
Ultimate fulfillment. So keep on having your high standards, and, you know, consider the people around you is more than friends. Maybe you have maybe you have a friend that is a really great guy, and I'm like trying to describe Jordan.
Okay, keep your stance, but keep an open mind. You know, you never know.
Keep an open mind, and just because it's not this perfect man that you'll see on Tinder, this perfect checks all the boxes man for you on Tinder, just because it's not someone like that doesn't mean that it can't turn into something more. I think just because you have expectations and you're using the apps, it's important to maybe consider that the apps are setting really unrealistic expectations of who you should be with, if that makes sense.
I agree, and I also think at a certain point too, and maybe this is just my perspective and thoughts, but in college and high school, you know, who you're dating is almost like an accessory because there's an emotional immaturity there. So it's like, I want everyone to know I'm with the hottest guy at school. I don't care if he treats me like garbage, but he's hot and rich. And then as you get older, you're like, okay, I actually don't really...
Right.
Hopefully you mature where you're like, I don't really care about, like...
Yeah.
If he's the hottest person I've ever seen in my life, if I'm still attracted to him, we connect, and this is somebody that I want to spend my life with, then like... why are outside perspectives influencing that? And I think that's important to consider too. What biases from the outside, whether it's your friends or your family, are conditioning you to perceive the world and people, possible partners, as something that doesn't belong to you or something that's not safe for you.
And that is tea. So good.
And on that note,
I was gonna say on that note,
if you enjoyed today's episode, we are coming out with one every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Coworker Calamity. And until next time, ka-chow!
There will be no next time.
It's like you just like stab me.